All right, we have a very special treat in store for everybody today, this morning, this afternoon. I don't know what time it is. Feels like it's all those times. Ian Clark is a one-of-a-kind in the high-end health and wellness revolution. Clark has traveled extensively during the last 5 years, gathering definitive information and resources for crucial products, technologies, and modalities. Clark shares priceless information that activates people to completely transform their health with a balanced amount of investment in time, money, and energy. The information being shared addresses water, air, nutrition, detoxification, and full spectrum mineralization, which allows the body to heal itself in all areas, including mental, emotional, dental, structural, sexual, environmental, and metabolic processes, providing a progressive transformation to the next level. Who's interested in that? Say aye, yes, me! Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with a chi cheer. Ian Clark, woo! Good job, buddy.
So good afternoon, everybody. It seems like a short moment since we were here last time, and it's always a pleasure, so thank you for coming out. I'm actually going to use notes this time. The reason for that is because I have about 8 hours worth of information that I'm going to compress into about 60 minutes. And so you're going to get the cliff notes, and you can drill down to whatever depth you want to on the information as time passes. So what I've learned in my journeys, and without getting into too much of my own story, but coming from a very close scrape with death on many levels in every area of my life, I was able, through grace, to be able to find all the answers that kept coming more and more and more definitively as I was able to handle them in order to go to the next level. And so as I went from one level to the next level, I learned that you'll never ever stop doing that. That you always, hopefully you start at a good place. I started at a very bad place, but that's because I had sown for that. Ended up in a very low position, and I had to find a way just to get back to sort of a good place and then start to build from there. So today I want to talk about a few of the things that I was told about and came to me over the course of the last few years. Now, a lot of people want to credit me with a lot of things, and that is actually an inaccurate means of going about how this all took place. I credit everybody out there that did the research, that developed the products, that came up with the ideas, that for whatever reason, my little gift in life is to identify amazing people with amazing things and simply receive them and be open, and always open to go to the next level. And just like the rungs of a ladder, you can't start at the 10th rung. You have to start at the bottom. And if you try to get to the top, you'll damage yourself. Or if you think there's no rungs in between, you'll definitely damage yourself. So what we're all about now is, now that the information has matured to a level where we can share it definitively and very effectively with everybody. So it's not just people that are already activated and know the importance of being healthy and how vitality in life is essential, but it's people that are what we'll call dumbed down, like what I was. I was the epitomization of dumbed down, so I can appreciate and respect where people are at when they're under heavy toxic load, when everything's coming at them, so much so that they don't even know it's happening. If you realize that the majority of people out there are in a deceived state to one degree or another, then you have to have some compassion, because deception is the state that a person is in when they don't know they're deceived. If you find out you're deceived, you're no longer deceived, right? So the definition of deception is that you are unaware of something that you need to be aware of. You think you know something, but you don't, and you get yourself in a lot of trouble when that happens. So we want to activate people that we know are certainly deceived on many levels. And so we look at health on a holistic basis. And we want to activate every center of health, every center of every category of health, and take people to start to wake up and then go next level. So that's the activation process. And we look at it from every angle. So spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. And your physical, you have your structure, your dental, your sexual, your skin, your expression, your image. And then you go into social, financial, political, environmental, agricultural, and of course there's many, many more categories. But those are the top ones that we're going to talk about today. So we want to really cover the whole spectrum and share the most matured information possible so that you take the least amount of time, energy, and financials or treasures of your life in order to get the greatest return on investment and the highest priceless value back. So if you take a look at activation, if we want to activate people, we have to start with something fun. If you start with the hardcore stuff, like where I had to start with hardcore because I was going to die. So, it's extreme measures. Most people are on a gentle slope down of about 1 degree in life. And you can tell their boat is sinking. They've got a certain number of holes in the hull, right? And this is the way it is. And all of our boats are sinking. So we're trying to keep the sinking slowed down. And if we can repair it and keep it buoyant and crest every wave, that would be very good. So as people are on their slight degree down, say 1 degree down on an angle, if we can just shift that to 1 degree up, what a difference that would make 10 years down the road. If you look at a year as a mile and you took a 1 degree angle going down and you get 10 miles down the road, that's a vast difference between where you're at 10 years later or 10 miles down the road to where you're at otherwise. So here's your neutral ground, but if you're just 1 degree and just shift it 1 degree, it might be a mile or whatever. I didn't do the trajectory, but it's a fairly significant amount. So what we want to do is get people shifted from that slight degree down with GMO foods and toxins and so on to getting rid of all those things and getting them on the 1 degree up. So if you look at yourself, is what's going on, and if you have any issues at all in your health and you want to get rid of them by purging them and replacing them with real high vibe health, you have to find out where are the toxins coming from, what form they're in, whether it's energetic, material, or otherwise. You have to learn how to stop that, because we know that everything is toxified. So you have to stop the toxins from coming any further in. You have to find out how to get rid of the toxins that are already in, and then you need to repair the damage that they caused, and then you need to rebuild from that point and get yourself into a state where you are not vulnerable, but that you are inviolate to those toxins. So the point is, you don't want to be in a position where you're so hypersensitive you can't even move, right? And every last little chemical and electromagnetic and everything else is just blowing you away and making you vomit and throw up. That's what some people think is super sensitive. I don't believe that. I believe that's where you're weak and you need to be strong. Now, some people that have a great sense of knowing, like they could touch a product and they can tell whether that's got something harmful in it or not. I'm not talking about that. That's a good kind of sensitivity. A person that can go out and feel food or taste it and know whether that's a good quality or whether there's something harmful in it, that's a great quality. So we don't want to confuse that with being hypersensitive. So getting your body strengthened on all areas is extremely important. So that's what we want to learn about. Now, think about what you're ingesting on a daily basis. 24/7, what do you ingest? Every second of every day you're ingesting something. Air, right. So that's the highest amount of ingestibility. So you got to deal with your air as best as you can, because you're getting toxified through your air. Now, what's the next thing you take in more than anything else? Water. So you're not 80% air, but you are 80% water. So you need to deal with the water systems all around you on the outside of your body and all the water systems on the inside of your body. And you want to do that the most effectively with the least amount of cost in energy, time, and money, with the greatest return on investment. Now, why do you drink water? What is the purpose of drinking water? Hydration, right? And cleansing. Keeping the biofilm cleansed, keeping your body, free of all the heavy metals and keeping everything moving through all the time so you don't have any accumulation of toxins. So you want to cleanse and hydrate. When you actually cleanse and really hydrate at the highest level possible, your ATP energy goes through the roof, because that enables the cell to have all the flow of energy going through it. So this is crucial information, and you need to be able to make sure that every single day that you're alive, you're drinking the best water possible. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the very best water ever all the time, but it's going to be the best water possible. And so we have now been given a matured system in order to make that happen. And you don't have to go and spend $4,000 in a Kangen unit, and you don't have to do all those things anymore. And I love Kangen units, but we don't drink the water from it. We use it to clean our vegetables and soak our nuts and the almonds and different things, and we do whatever, clean the kitchen with it. It's great. But we don't promote that product because it's a very expensive way to do those things, and there's actually some more effective ways. So on the water side, what we've learned is that water is gone through many processes over time, except for water that's coming from the depths of the earth up that is the best water you can get that's naturally occurring. And what you want to do is, in order to get the water ready to drink, you have to go through a certain process, which is fairly painless and not very time-consuming. And there's a gentleman named Dr. Shimanishi in Japan who discovered 45 years ago he brought it out. So it was prior to that. He's 80 years old now, so he would be about 35 years old when he really started to get into this on a real heavy application basis in life with tens of thousands of people. But I would say about 15 to 20 years prior to that, he found out that black mica is the foundation building blocks for your body. That's what your body consists of, is the same elements that are in black mica. And he happened to be given access and have rights to a mine that has a lot of black mica, which is a black shale or biotite. And he looked at that and said, well, if I could just provide that to people, they would be able to have their body rejuvenated and rebuilt back to where it's going to come to. But if you just grind up rocks and feed them to people, that doesn't do you any good. A lot of supplement companies go and they grind up minerals real fine, and then they'll call it nano, and they'll call it, but it doesn't do you any good because it doesn't assimilate, it doesn't get into the cells, it can't be used as fuel. So he looked at plants and plant life, and he said, well, how do plants get minerals from the soil? This is an organic plant, and we have soil with all these minerals in it. And so he discovered that plants, in the study of that, release a certain acid into the soil, and they work with the humics and the fulvics, and they work with the effective microorganisms, and they dissolve the minerals, and they pull it up into the plant. You eat the plant, you get the minerals, and it's a very powerful way to get it. So he said, well, we can't do that with the black mica. That's not going to work. What's the proper way to do it? So they used a sulfuric acid process where they were able to extract completely every element in its form, in its proportion, and put it into a liquid. And if you go to on YouTube, type in Adya Clarity, A-D-Y-A, and then Clarity, and Japan, and look for the Japanese guy, looks about 60 years old, in the little image, and click on it and watch that, where they go and they can heal entire bodies of water. Take a whole pond that is stagnant and filthy and contaminated and everything's dying in it, and take it within 1 hour and clean it completely out to where it's pristine and beautiful and perfect and everything's thriving and vibrating highly, and it stays permanently that way. That's what this product in this bottle can do. So it does that for that. All the water, it'll clean. It gets rid of all the heavy metals, all the solvents, all the contaminants, everything that's not optimal for your body, and it gets it out completely through deposition and agglutination. And it is like a fire. When you pour this into water, you're pouring fire into the water. When you pour this into your body, you're pouring fire into your body. And that fire goes in and burns everything in your body that's not supposed to be there. And the other thing that it does at the same time is it invigorates your body. It will not oxidate any part of your body, but it will burn and oxidate everything else that's not supposed to be there. So this is a full spectrum magical substance from black mica extract. So to give you a short cliff note on it, the side benefits are not what this is all about. So when we talk about water purification, water structuring, water mineralization, cleansing heavy metals out of your body, getting rid of parasites and pathogens and viruses and unfriendly bacteria where it does not bother the friendly bacteria. When we talk about getting all of the plaque out of your body, getting your pancreas, healthy and happy so that your sugar balances are better. All those things are only the side benefits. The number one thing that this is all about, so not to be confused, is it is all about getting your body in the enzymatic processes optimized to the maximum possible. So even to have a thought, just think about your body. Our bodies are so complex, and they talk about 1 trillion or 70 trillion cells. That's nothing. Compared to the enzymatic processes are in the gazillions of enzymatic processes a minute that are happening continuously within your body. In order to have even one thought, you have to have an enzymatic process working with a mineral, and in order to have one thought. And it takes 80,000 thoughts computed to put your index finger to your thumb. You're a very wonderfully created being, right? And you can do that as many times as you like. And that requires enzymatic process to take place in electrical information and transfer of signaling and so on. And this happens to be now known through studies, endless studies, with tens of thousands of people, that the most optimal thing at the end of the day is when you put this in your body, your enzymes fall in love. And they fall out of love with everything else that's less than this. So you know that people can go to McDonald's if they're well hydrated and they're cleansing. They go to McDonald's and still get a benefit from the food. There's minerals in there, but they're very low vibe. You know, they're not the good girls of the party. So, you know, when you put these in, it's a marriage made in heaven, and that's it. It's a covenant. Okay, your enzymes make a covenant with the minerals in here, and they don't get divorced. So that's the beginning. So, okay, but it's okay. Any information at all will be provided. We have all weekend here to find out all the rest of the drill down stuff. So nobody will be deprived of information. Now, when we look at the process of water, we have a formula that works for everybody to the optimal degree. The end of the day, when you take a little bit of water out of this faucet, that is the best water for your body by multiple times over. So you can start out with whatever water you want. The better water you start out with, the better it is. But you can start out, you can go to the toilet, you can go to the cesspool, you can go to the worst pond in the world that'll kill you. You can get the water out of that and still get the same result out of the faucet without much time involved. So basically you get your water, you get a jug of water, or whatever size you like, you add the black mica extract into that jug of water, and you let it sit there. It'll burn everything in the water, it'll agglutinate it out to the bottom, and now you have good water to work with. You then pour it into this unique little device that comes out of Korea, which is all non-BPA, proven in a lab to never leach. You know, everybody's horrified of plastic. I'm not anymore now that I've seen the studies. But there's some plastics you wouldn't dare to touch. But we're talking about plastics that are good. You pour it in the top, it goes through a ceramic filter, comes out through an aquifer filter simulating the earth energies and the layers of different minerals that are in the earth, and it drops down into here, into this place where you pour it out. Now, this is called hardware. So the material is water and black mica. The hardware piece is this unit here, and there's another piece of hardware inside here that was invented by a very interesting individual who's behind this, named David Schneider. This is a magic stir wand, or you can call it a quantum age stir wand, or whatever you want to call it. And it's, you know how many wands are in the world out there? Well, there's a dime a dozen, but this is by far the top level one of all time. This is a piece of hardware that has software inside of it. It has the code for hydration to take that water after it gets in the bottom and change it into a 10 times factor of hydration, so that it is so profound, you'll notice it right away when you drink the water. And it gets silky smooth, and it just floods into your system. Now, what's going to happen right now is there's going to be some samples passed out, not of this water here, but of a thing called a super shot. And this is something that you do with this product for 30 days, because your body has about 60 quarts of water in it, or 60 liters. Take your pick. And that's for an average weight of, say, 140, 150 pounds. And it takes about 30 days to cleanse all the water in your body. So what you do is you take 1 teaspoon from this bottle in the morning in an ounce of water, and you shoot it back. You wait about 2 minutes, and you drink a quart of water to flush it through. You do that again at 3 in the afternoon. If you are in very low health, you start out with only 1 per day and work yourself up to 2 after a week or so. And you continually do that for 30 days. After 30 days, your body's completely changed. You've replenished all of the missing material that your enzymes need to work with. You've also cleansed a massive amount of debris out of your body, so that your systems are flowing much better. And everything about your body begins to work better, including your GI tract. After that, you can continue doing super shots as long as you like, but 30 days is the minimum. And so some people keep doing it until all their gray hair is gone, and I'm working on that right now. Not successfully yet, but it's coming. And you just keep going as long as you like. But this little bottle here will last you 250 days for a single person. This is the lowest cost, highest benefit. So, okay, now I have to warn everybody, this is strong. Okay? It's strong, and everybody may get a different taste. Some people taste nickel, some people taste copper, some people taste, metals of different kinds. Some people will have a little flashback from the past, okay? Okay, what is in that little cup is a super shot. That's 1 teaspoon of this Adya Clarity from Japan in 1 ounce of water. And if you have water with you, which hopefully most of you do, you can be drinking that afterwards, because it's nice to get about 1 liter of water in your body within an hour. You don't have to, but to get the most benefit from this, that's what you do. You get about 1 liter of water going through your body. So This little piece of software, what it does, it has the code in it that radiates permanently. This will never wear out. There's no batteries, there's no plug-in. You put it in the water, and it completely structures the water right down to one molecule. Now, to give you an idea of the level of understanding behind these technologies, we have the water wizards of all time in the earth coming together. I put a conference call together. Today is Saturday. I put it together on Thursday. And it was a whole series of events that led up to this. And all I did was say, hey, guys, you got to be on the phone at such and such a time in such and such a place. And when they got on the phone, it was the head of the International Functional Water Society, who is in his 70s, who's devoted his whole life to water, to receive all the information from all the amazing people in this world that are thinking about water, and to have a filtration system for information to let everything ascend to the top as the ranking goes up. And the other guy that was on the phone was David Schneider, the man behind this, who has dedicated his life to water. His life to water. And so I had to forewarn Dick Willert, who is the head of the Functional Water Society, that David is actually worth listening to because he's heard it all, right? And there's so many people that are so full of it when it comes to water. And, they need the clarity for their water, right? They are blah, 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 blah. But I said, okay, Dick, basically, I know that you have in-depth knowledge. And I believe that David is a man worth listening to. And so I said, within 30 minutes, you're going to know. And so I got to listen in this conversation. We got David on the phone. I said, David, just give us the download. Tell us what's going on. What's the reality behind this? What's it all about? And within a 3-hour period, wasn't it not the most astounding conversation, Alan? Dr. Alan Seichi was on the call. Okay, all right, well, oh yeah, it was just a full download of everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put these guys in the interview and videotape them and really get it. But the information that comes forth is contained in this little stir wand, and this will definitely change people's lives because you need to be hydrated at the maximum level possible. You get great hydration fresh from a spring water. You take that and put it in the spring water, you're getting 10 times the factor. So these are crucial devices, and they don't wear out. So your cost for water just dropped exponentially. And if you think about pollution, they have 2 islands now the size of Texas floating in the ocean full of plastic from plastic bottle disposal. They have fuel being burnt. The carbon footprint on a bottled water is outrageous because people are shipping it and trucking it all from all parts of the world because it's the latest water from New Zealand or from Alaska or from Iceland or wherever. And that's all cool. It's really great. But except for the fact that there's a carbon footprint attached, and it doesn't matter how you cut it. It doesn't matter if it costs 25 cents to get it from New Zealand to here. What's that got to do with it? There's a carbon footprint. Now, what we want people to do is take accountability and responsibility on every level. And I've had to do that. And all I want is for people to do it. They don't have to, but it's of great benefit to you and the people around you if you do. And take responsibility to make your own water. Put your own energy, put your own everything into that. Make your own. You can get it from anywhere now. And this is already all being fully lab tested. These are not things that are like, oh yeah, well I did my research. This is clinical trials. There is major labs involved in this, in the research of this water, proving the hydration principles. So all these things are fully verifiable. We can share all that information with you down the road as we go, as all this stuff comes onto the radar screen more and more. So it's an accountability, responsibility issue. Now, this world is full of everybody that thinks they know something, and I was probably the worst example of that 6 years ago. And I found out that everything I knew was killing me, so that wasn't very cool. And so when I looked at changing things, I thought, okay, well, what do I have to change? I got to change something. And what I found out is that I had to change everything. I had to change absolutely everything. My entire being and fabric, everything about me had to completely change on every category and every level, no matter what. It's like, okay, I'm open. Because I don't have much to live, and I want to live. And so if I get to live, every second is going to be amazing after that point. So if you have 6 months to live, that means you've got 6 months. They tell you got 6 months to live, about. Okay, so I've got about 6 months to live. I got 6 months to extend that to a year, right? Then if I got a year, now I got more to work with. Now if I can use that year to extend it to 10 years, perfect. Then I use the 10 years to extend it to 50 years. And that means that we have to continuously be changing everything to the better. So good, great, greater, greatest, and then awesome and crucial, and keep on going. So we want to have accountability and responsibility. Now, the know-it-alls are called, do you know what the term is? I don't know if you've heard this, but it's sophist. philosophy, right? Sophist or Gnostic. Gnostics are another one. Forget about the agnostics, they don't know anything. But the Gnostics, they know everything, right? They know more than God knows. This is a big problem. So you can't tell them anything, they're not teachable. So the teachability index of all of our being needs to be at a greater level all the time. Teachability index is very simple, and this is not my ideas, of course. I'm just repeating things that I've learned about. Teachability index is, are you willing to admit, do you want to find out if you're wrong? Would you like to know if you were wrong? Right, well, most people in this world don't. And they don't want to find that out, right? But you know why you're in this room? Because you actually do. And not only do you want to find out if you're wrong, you want to find out what is correct. You don't want to be focusing on all the negative junk that's going on at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Because the more you focus on garbage, the more it piles up on you. The more you focus on great things, the more it expands and proliferates and makes more fun in life, right? So getting into that position of constant change, right, where you are going to be teachable, you get your learning and your due diligence maximized. So you are responsible to do your own due diligence. Well, people can do it for you, but that wasn't your energy. If you don't do your own due diligence on everything you're doing, then you're making decisions based upon what somebody else is telling you to do. That's not cool, is it? But it's not cool, even if it was 100% right. That's not cool unless it's resonating in your heart, in your soul, in your being, in every part of your existence. And then you're using good information and you're making intelligent decisions and you feel good about it. That's when you're activated. That activates you, right? Then you're really going to be motivated to continue on that road. And nothing feels as good as feeling good, right? It's kind of a crazy statement, but it's beautiful. And a friend of mine in Ohio uses that all the time. He's 96 years old this year, and he feels pretty good. And so the question is, if nothing feels as good as feeling good, then the next question you ask is, can I feel better? Now, the answer to that question is always yes. Every time you ask that question, it's always yes. Oh, I feel so good, though. Can I feel even better than this? Right? Yes, always. And so we're always looking for those things that make you feel better in every level and function better so that you can be in service to all those people around you, because your vibe, as you get your vibration up, that is an influence amongst the people that you're with. If you hang out with low vibe people all the time, you will be influenced. Don't deceive yourself into thinking you're some kind of powerhouse that you can just go and mill around all the low vibe and not be influenced. You'll definitely be influenced. But if you're always seeking that next level, always looking for the person that is at that next level that you can, and draw everybody else up with you in service and love of people, and taking the correction yourself, finding where you're wrong, saying, look, I'll change it. I don't care how much I suffer, how much time it takes, how much money it costs, how far I got to travel, who I got to listen to. I'm open. If they have something valid to say, I'm going to listen. And I'm going to pay attention. And I want to be benefited by that and then share that benefit with those people around me. And it gets into priceless categories when you do that. So, we talked about the water. I'm a little backwards on my notes, but that's okay. So when we talk about mineralization, everything that we have focused on, and fortunately we've been given the highest vibe minerals in the world on every level, we look at mineralization because mineralization means you're abundant. You're a crystalline structure. And minerals need to be in the right formation, in the right place in your body at the right time, with nothing in between them that is going to hinder any of the communication processes in your body. Now, I'm supposed to have a clock here to see how much time I got left, but so I have no clue. Oh, there you are. Okay, so we're halfway. All right, so you want to have mineralization in your body that is going to make you into an abundance on every level. So if you have minerals coming in and it decalcifies your pineal gland and it pops and your little antenna starts working good and you start to be more receptive to things that are cool and be willing to find out where you're wrong and learn where you're right, that's going to be a massive change. So mineralization goes with abundance. Every time we got further mineralized, we got more priceless stuff. You couldn't even put a value on it. It's like, it's changing people's lives so quickly and so much that what's it worth? Well, it doesn't matter what it's worth anymore because it's priceless. It's like a priceless work of art that you cannot replace it. It's worth bazillions of dollars. So forget about what it's worth. Just get good fire insurance. Make sure it's put in there, nobody can steal it, because no insurance would ever cover it anyway. So these are the levels of pricelessness that we're allowed to go to now at this point. So we look at the next level of minerals, which is microalgae. Microalgae of all types are wonderful. Spirulina, chlorella, Dunaliella, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, azastanthin, And then you get into marine phytoplankton. So when you look at mineral, all those microalgae take as much as you can get in a nice, moderate way. And you want to keep going up and up and up. The highest vibe microalgae we found was marine phytoplankton. But it has to be a specific strain, and it took 10 years of study to determine the one that works for humans. And so we were given this strain in a form that was freeze-dried powder, and it was wonderful. And so we were eating that, and wow, it was making a change. And the beautiful thing about it is that marine phytoplankton, they live off the sunlight, and they consume the minerals in the ocean. And they change those minerals into organic, nano-sized, because it's a nanoparticular size, about 100 nanometers to the size of a single cell marine phytoplankton, and containing all those amazing nutrients from the ocean that are converted using the sunlight and photosynthesis with chlorophyll into a full spectrum of nutrients that, now when you think about microalgae, they all have the ability to go into the body, penetrate the blood-brain barrier, go into your hypothalamus and your pituitary, which is command central, and provide the information and the materials to build all the vitamins, hormones, enzymes that your body needs if you do enough of them. And you can have your body functioning at a very high vibrational level using microalgae. So when we saw this freeze-dried product, we went, that's really cool. Could there be something better? And we found out there was, because I got a phone call shortly after that, within 2 months, of a guy that said, hey, there's this company in Australia that's taking stinging nettle juice and hawthornberry juice, and they're putting it in this really concentrated sea mineral solution that's certified pure for human consumption. And it's a concentrated thing that takes 6 months with the sun and the wind, and they're getting this distillation down to a super ionic trace mineral concentrate liquid that anything you put in there preserves it permanently. So 10 years later, they can still smell the stinging nettle juice, smell it just like the day it went in. They harvest it, it goes into this thing immediately within 10 minutes, and it preserves the life energy. All the resonant benefits of it stay permanently in the solution. So I said, wow, that's really cool. And this guy said, hey, why don't you put the powder in there? I said, okay, well, that's a pretty good idea. I said, well, hey, you know what? I can get access to, I have this friend that has the worldwide exclusive rights for this, and I'm going to call him, I'm going to see if I can get the paste, the raw stuff. Forget about freeze drying. The stuff that comes out of the centrifuge after it comes out of the bioreactor, and it's like this thick peanut butter, and it's fully alive. If you put that back into the water, it'll grow and continue proliferating. And they take that and they freeze dry it. Well, I said, I don't want anything done. I want to take that and put it into this ionic trace mineral. And so I got a hold of the guy in Australia. He said, yes, you can use our idea. He checked around and made sure that the guy that was proprietary to allowed it, and they allowed it. And they said, well, we'll give you exclusive rights to use of this type of idea. And I think it'll work, he told me. He says, you go ahead. So I got a hold of the guys in Europe, and they said, no, we don't think that'll work. We have a lab, and stuff goes bad. This microalgae goes bad within a few hours when it's out of the bottle. If you put it in fresh water and let it sit, it goes bad pretty quick. And if you put it in the fridge, it'll last for 6 months at the best. So and the thing is, I didn't want it to be harvested and kind of sitting in a fridge before you got it. I wanted to somehow find a way to suspend it like they did with the stinging nettle juice. So I said, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have it shipped from Australia to the Netherlands. You guys grow the stuff, you put it in, I'll pay for everything, and we'll just see what happens. And so they did, and they were astonished at at the results they got. And they still have the original samples in the lab that are as fresh as the day it went in from 3 years ago. So this has been a profound product. And this little guy here has been our #1 sold. We call it Oceans Alive. We do private label to various companies who call it different things. But it has a life of its own. David stimulated the understanding of this way back. That was about 3 years ago, right? And from there, it was like planting a little seed, and then it started to grow. And this stuff has had such a life in its own. People would take it and tell everybody, and then you were activating that information once in a while. This is kind of surprising because we didn't even actually try to market this product, as you well know. We just were sitting in the background just watching what was going on. And we couldn't fill bottles fast enough because we were just a small company, and we're still a small company, but we're a small company that's working to get these things filled. We finally have FDA-approved facilities doing it, and we got all the right stuff in place. But in 28 months, all on its own, it sold $2.5 million worth of product. That was kind of cool. That was without trying. Now, we should be selling that in a month. Not that we should be wanting to sell that, right? But yeah, clap for the product, because it's the product, okay? And so this is the ideas of people that we're given. But anyway, so this is a really fun one. It's really gnarly if you take it straight up. But if you're a hardcore raw foodist, you can handle it. You just open it up, and you just put it straight into your mouth. And you can put, if you put 1 drop in throughout the day, 15 times, that's the best. I don't have time to do that. So sometimes I'll even miss a day and do a teaspoon after a few days, but which is not the most optimal. If you take this and put this in fresh coconut juice, it makes it taste like freshly pressed cane juice. It's an amazing alchemy. There's some magic with that, and I don't know if anybody has done that. I'm sure there's people in the room that have done that, but there's some serious alchemy with that, with the coconut juice anyway. Okay, moving on very quickly.
What was that you were just...
Oh, that's Oceans Alive. Oceans Alive, yeah. I got to take a little drink of water for that one. Okay, so now, there's another thing that is really cool. I'm going to give you a quick download on this. It's involving reactive molecules. When you're 21 years old, you're producing a maximum amount of reactive molecules. You can eat out of the dumpster, party your face off, stay up all night, you still look amazing, right? So you're producing lots of reactive molecules. And as you get older, you produce less and less and less of them. And so, we are really, this age is absolutely amazing how much toxicity is being hammered at us nonstop. So we need to find every compensator possible, because we're not fooling around. We are not going to kid ourselves. Now, some of you might be living in a mountaintop in your bare feet, no cell towers anywhere near you, all eating wild foraged and raw food. Perfect. I'd love to be able to do that. But the reality is, I don't know, is there anybody in this room that's doing that right now? On the top, is that right? That's cool. You're doing that? I looked at you when I first said that, and I thought you might be one of those guys. That's really great. It's amazing, right? So, there's very few, though. So, the actual reality is we are, look at David. What's the chances? It isn't going to happen. You are under such demand. You have to travel internationally because you got so much priceless info to share with people. You have no choice. It's not going to happen that way, right? And so, things like vitamin D are important. Okay, on the vitamin D, just write this down. DINOMIT. DINOMIT. And put that in the subject line and send me an email to ian@imc7.com. I as in Ian. Two different things you could use for I. M as in mother, C as in Charlie, the number 7.com. Just send me an email with that in the subject line. That's all you got to do. And I'll reply to that with some extremely valuable information that Dr. Saichi shared with me on vitamin D. All you got to do is see the video, and that will seal the understanding for that. And then you got to know which vitamin D to get. Oh, sorry. Okay, DIN as in Nancy, OM as in mother, IT as in Thomas. Ian, IAN, at imc7.com. Okay, now, so we want to talk a little bit about these reactive molecules. Reactive molecules are what your body produces naturally every day, all day, just less and less as you get older. So there's a company that has discovered a way to capture, this is the most difficult thing. It took 20 years for them to finally figure out how to stabilize reactive molecules in a bottle that you could actually drink and it would work. And they've had astounding results over the last few years just by simply letting this out to people. It's gone by word of mouth. And we have today in the audience an expert on this subject matter, Michael Stern, back here. If you could just stand up for a second, Michael, so you can see him. If you ever want to know anything about this, you can talk to him afterwards. But to give you just a quick cliff note on this, reactive molecules go into the body and properly set in divine order the redox signaling and the redox reactants within your cellular communication network, giving it the ability, giving your cells, your oxidants and your reductants, the ability to go out and find damaged and aging cells, tear them down and get them out of the body and replace them with proper cells based on your DNA. If you don't have a proper amount of reactive molecules in your body, you start to get aging and damaged cells proliferating in your body. So you see some people aging, and all of a sudden they really age. You see them look good, and 5 years later they're like, "Whoa!" Right? What happened? So the redox reactants and redox signaling got shut down so much that the oxidants and the what's the other word there? Oxidants and the reductants, right? The oxidants and reductants are not able to do their job properly to get rid of those aging cells. So this floods your body with them, this particular product. This is a bottle of it, but you talk to Michael about it afterwards, and it just comes in a simple bottle. You just drink an ounce a day, and away you go. You can drink lots more if you want, but it's called ASEA. And so if you want to know about that, you go to It's teamasia.com/longevity.
How do you spell it?
ASEA. So it's team, T-E-A-M, asia.com/longevity. And you can see a whole bunch of info, but the best, this is an opportunity. Michael actually flew in specially for this yesterday at midnight. So, he's get a little bit swamped, but he's a wealth of information on the subject. So he's drilled down the definitive. It's a fully matured product. It's a fully matured set of information. He will help you out with that. And it's really, really cool. So when you do reactive molecules, it uses everything that you're doing positively and takes it to the next level again. Okay, so when you get everything sorted out and you add those in on top, it's amazing what they will do. So it's a huge return on investment for anything you're doing like that on the reactive molecule side. So now I want to talk a little bit about the skin. The largest organ in your body is the skin. And there's some very exciting things going on in the skin industry. As you know, skin treatments, skin care, skin products are a zillion, dime a dozen. They're all over the place. And everybody claims to have the very best one. Well, there's different ranking systems that are the best to use. What's the best ranking system? I think the best ranking system is the unbiased people that are not selling things get to talk about it and are blown away and say, oh, no, that's the best, right? That's the best ranking system. There's a marketing technology coming up very soon that's going to allow that to take place internationally. But until that gets here, it's just a matter of whether you get contact with the people that know about these certain things. There's a skin company that made it onto CBS last year because of how powerful the reactions were to this product. And CBS did this for free. They heard about it and they said, look, we're going to do a 6-week study on this thing. We're going to see what it really does for people's faces. Because your face is your expression. It needs to be healthy and vital. You need proper collagen and elastins and things like that, or it can alter your image, right? Because that is the real expression of you. It's your rental, right? This is the rental. The real you is your soul, right? The invisible being. But the expression of that invisible being is what you look like. If you could see your soul, it looked just like you when you were 21. Okay, so, but it's not this whole thing about having to look young is not important. What I want to do is I'm 52 years old and I want to look like a healthy 52-year-old. When I was 46, I looked like I was 65. I used to get offered seniors discounts. I'm like, oh, what is that, right? So that's not cool. And you know what, if you're given a face that is absolutely eternally youthful, like, Len and David and Jim Quick is another one. Just amazing. They're given that gift. But there's very few of those types of people on the planet. And so you want to look your age. So, you want to be healthy at that particular look. So the thing is you want to do is you want to get your skin health up. Now, to get right back on topic here, because I always wander off, this is a company that has figured out how to get the genetic coding, the actual mathematical code into water. And when you put this specific type of amino acid enzyme and white seaweed into this water, it does a reaction that you make a product fresh on the fly that you can apply directly to your skin that has such a profound effect I have seen nobody yet, and everybody has had a great response and immediate change in their appearance, and it increases over the next day. And if they do it over the next months, I was absolutely shocked when there was a woman named Beamy Case. I don't know how many of you know her, but Beamy has been around for a long time and done many different things and is always looking for the better things as well. And she's one of the people that really shares a lot of great information all the time with people. And I hadn't seen her for about 4 months, and I came back into town. I was like totally shocked. I looked at her and said, "What happened to you? Like, you look so good." It was, because she had been worse for the wear, okay? And she'd been through a lot of stress and a lot of hard times and had really serious health issues and challenges that are now dealt with. But her skin looked like 20 years younger. And I was quite, she still looks her age, but she's a very healthy looking age at that, right? And skin very beautiful. So what this company has done is the guy that invented this was a master animator who knows exactly, the background in the movie Avatar? That's all binary digits, right? Those are just numbers. Those are codes. Well, he is at that level to understand how to do that kind of coding. So what he realized is he got out of that business. He went out and he went over to Asia and to different places of the world, and he learned about some of the different things that are the best for the skin and how to put this into water. He was taught how to put these codes that he was working and making a screen of beautiful image, into a water that you could put on your body and it would change you. And so he took that and he actually completed that. That was done about 2 years ago. And then that's why he got such immediate recognition on CBS, because of the profound effect it had upon people. So he got these minerals that are super pure. You can eat these things. This would be good for food, be a little expensive to eat. But you put it on your skin and it's food for your skin. And it's the first time that a company's ever had something where you could take a skin product that is not already prepackaged in a bottle for you, and you can make it fresh and live right on the spot. You may make a little mix. It takes just a few minutes to do it. You put it on your face. It's odorless, and it's basically tasteless. And it goes over your whole face, so you can put it right under your eyes and everything. And we're actually, Beamy has taken, she was at an event this weekend, took a special time today to come over here to do facials, which would normally cost you $100. She would never charge $100. But if you were to go to a spa and get a facial that would even come close to doing what this does, it would be a minimum $100. Nobody's going to afford that because it's not a proper thing to do, and they use chemicals and everything else. This is a facial that will be better than that, and just to cover her cost of material, she's doing it for $10 outside. So she can't be swamped, but if you get the opportunity, it would be nice over the course of the weekend, and we'll have more people tomorrow doing it. There's going to be several people. But the material's there. It's just a really wonderful experience. And there's actually a whole consciousness element to this thing. And you'll notice a difference in how you feel. It's a mood elevator. And you know, if you're looking good, you're feeling good, and that's what this is all about. It's not about vanity, it's about reality. You want to look like you look like. And when the toxins have taken your appearance down, you want to get it back. Why not? So check it out, and that's one of the fun products. Okay, you got your pens? It's energeticinteractions.com/longevity. 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 Is there to buy? No. No, because we don't want to take the time. This, you know, my thought patterns were often, we're bringing everything and sell everything here, but it's not the right way. The proper way to do it is a nice orderly fashion. We have a lot of these different products that are ready to sell here, and that's fine and wonderful. But we just get deluged. Instead of spending the time getting the information transfer with people, the most of our time, we spend time hunkered down at a computer taking orders. We have an order form at the back at our table, which is just inside the exhibitors hall. If you go down, it's about the third or fourth one on the left. But we are doing, what we're going to do is we're going to do free shipping. We're going to eat the shipping. We're giving you amazing prices on everything here that you're not going to get anywhere else until Sunday night if all the orders are in. And then we'll just give you free shipping. That way you don't have to worry about it in your suitcase. We have enough of stuff that you can buy small amounts of. This particular one we can't, because this is more of a high-end product that you know, you need to kind of learn about how that works, but you can order it at an amazingly good price. Okay? But yeah, it's one of those things. We wanted people to experience it for next to nothing. Yeah. Energetic interactions.
Is it topical?
Yes.
If I could just say one thing, there will be a way where you can order the kit if you want it. I'll have information out there.
Right.
If you want to order the kit, we'll have information out there. If you have the demo, if you don't have the demo.
Right.
But I'll explain to you more about how it works.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you.
Right out and where the tables are. You'll see chairs set up, and there'll be a lot of you having facial.
Yeah, exhibit. Just almost kitty corner from where we are. Yeah, so yeah, everything is orderable. That's the whole point. It's orderable, and shipping is included on everything that we're going to do. So, all right. Now, this is some interesting things further. When you want to get, okay, your body, all of our bodies in this room have inflammation in them to some degree or another. Everybody. Now, the reality is you have a lot more than you want to know or that you even do know. And so we've learned a lot about the whole structural thing. I'm down to 8 minutes, and I have a grace period of about, what is it, half an hour? Yeah, okay, so you want to get inflammation out of your body. There's many, many ways of getting inflammation out, but at the end of the day, you want to have all inflammation out of your body 100%. And one of the biggest anti-inflammatories in the world is turmeric. Turmeric is an amazing anti-inflammatory. If you go on PubMed, you'll see endless studies on turmeric. If anybody knows anything about it, you know that it has vast benefits. So you want to get the very best turmeric you can. So we knew that, and my son Anthony did some development with this mega genius guy, lab rat scientist, amazing guy in New York, who just is 24/7 focused on these things. And he produces various products for us. And so he put together a turmeric product. And is Anthony in the audience anywhere? He's out there busy. Too bad, because I'd have him up here in a second to explain it. I told him that I was going to drag him up here, but he's probably too shy. Anyway, there's 3 different types of turmeric and 3 different types of extract, from CO2 to a Ben oil to an extract using an organic honey alcohol, and there's no alcohol left in this at the end of the day. This has 3 different types of turmeric, and it has Piper Niger. If you want to just Google Piper Niger, Piperniger. And when you put Piper Niger with various products, it amplifies them approximately 2,000% more effective. It's an amazing thing. So this has all of those ingredients in it. If you want to learn more, you can pop by the table and talk to Anthony about that one. But we call this Golden Spice Elixir. And you need a very small amount. Do not follow the dosage instructions on the back unless you're getting rid of some massive disease problem. Because we just put that on there because we want to sell a lot of product. Now, the reality is he did about a quarter teaspoon of this. This will last a very long time. And I was just kidding about selling the product. All right. Okay, now, there's something else that we ran into just recently, and you're going to have to come and talk to me privately about this afterwards, and we'll have time to do that. This is a product made in Germany. I'm not going to give you the name because it's too confusing right now. It's going to be too overloaded of information, but I want to tell you about it because it's so important. The company that designed this and developed this is located in Germany. That's where they do all their development and their manufacturing is in Germany. They do it to GMP standards. They use the Swiss Vitamin Institute as everything has to be going through there on every batch, and it gets tested and brought back, retested, and put into the file for the batch. This is a CoQ10. Does everybody know how important CoQ10 is? Okay. So, it's ultra important. When you turn 35 or so, you start producing less CoQ10. It's produced out of the liver. It has multiple effects on the body. Do not have time to discuss them. But if you Google CoQ10, okay, so now most CoQ10s in the market are at best, some of the best ones they found were about 10% assimilable, which is very good. And there's ubiquinol and there's various ones out there. So 10% assimilable, you're going to still get a major benefit from it. This one is certified, patented, and certified clinically to be 90 to 98% assimilable, and they actually make the claim. If you make that claim, and you come into the United States of America or Canada or any country, and they have opened this product up in 35 countries in the 17-year history of the company. And they have to certify that with all the legal documentation, all the scientific documentation, all the clinical studies and everything to be able to make that statement publicly. 90 to 98% assimilable. And it's called an NTC patented process that put this company at the top of the top 10 of the top 100 companies for 8 years in a row in Europe out of 125,000 companies. And this product, when you put it in, it has a patent. The second patent that it has is when you put it into water. This is oil. When you put it's on your skin, it's oil. And it just sits in your skin like oil. When you put this into water, it immediately becomes one with the water, and it never ever separates again. And that's another patent they hold on that. They also have an omega-3 oil that does the same thing. But the most important thing I wanted to tell you about today is this CoQ10. So you can come and talk to me afterwards about this. This is crucial. No, we don't have this to sell here. But, because that's not how this is going to work. This is definitely order and ship. And it's amazing. I can give you samples. I got enough to give people samples, so you can experience it. It's absolutely fabulous. So this takes you next level in a major way. All right, so next. All right, this is one that you got to know about. Now, we will never sell this. This is something you can buy for $3 online, right? Oh, so we're into the overtime?
No.
Okay, good.
I just want to hear it.
Okay, I thought the cane was going to come out. So anyways, this is called an Aura brush, O-R-A brush.com. And the thing I liked about this one, it's so inexpensive, and you get to just buy it yourself right from the company, and we don't have any ties to them. But this is so important. This is, how you get tongue scrapers and all that kind of stuff? Well, tongue scrapers are great, but they don't work that great because you're working on a shag carpet. This has a little reverse shag carpet on it and a little scraper at the very end. So when you put it in your tongue and you massage your tongue and you go all the way to the back and pull it forward, after you've done every possible tongue scraper in the world and everything, you'll get a ton of bacteria out that's been there your whole life. that is unfriendly bacteria and harmful to your health, harmful to your dental. These things last 3 months. They cost $3. It's going to cost you $1 a month. Okay? You just use it and it gets the bacteria out. This is amazing. You cannot have halitosis even after having garlic supper. Okay? This is an amazing little product.
A great way to test that too is just take a tongue scraper if you use one. If you don't use one, you're crazy. But just take a tongue scraper and then scrape your tongue and then use that. And again, it's $3 online someplace.
So this is priceless information. Like, this is so much fun, this one. You'll love it. Everybody has to have it. So I've got just a few more things?
Oh, yeah.
We're good? Okay. All right. Now, on a, I need a demo person up here. Anybody? Closest?
Don't come down the center aisle. I see you about to come down.
The first one to walk up here. There you are. Okay, lay down on the stage on your back. The other way, this way, so that people can see. Okay? All right, cameras can get this, right? So, what I want you to do is bend your knees and lift your legs up like that, right there, okay? So now just relax, totally relax, as if you're just let me hold all the weight of your legs and everything, as you're completely relaxed. You get a footstool or cushions or whatever you want. Don't ever forget this pose for the rest of your life. Dr. Alan Stacey shared this with me, and what was the doctor's name? Steitler? Okay, Dr. Steitler figured this out after many years of research. He found out the free way to get rid of sympathetic stress. This is free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Okay? And what you do is you lay in this position for 20 minutes, and you notice that the biggest blood vessels in your body are now vertical like towers. And you can get up and go now. Thank you very much. And what? Yeah. Okay? That's right, I know. And why that is so important is because in this society, guaranteed everybody in this room is under sympathetic stress. Is that not correct, Dr. Stacey? But the sympathetic stress, it builds up, right? And it builds up because throughout the day, things are going to come at you and get you in sympathetic stress. That means that your blood vessels in your legs are going to expand in your arms, fight or flight. When you go into that position, it forces the blood that is accumulated in your vertical thighs back into your abdomen, because if you're in sympathetic stress, your digestion is not working right. And if that's not working right, this is not working right. So this gets you out of sympathetic stress. In 14 days, 20 minutes a day of doing that, you will be out of sympathetic stress, and there are tests you can prove that. That's a proven physical test to get you out of sympathetic stress. That will change your life. Make sure you get an alarm clock and set it beside you when you lay down, because it's going to knock you out. It will. You'll get knocked right out. Doesn't matter what time of day. And it's called the Tahiti pose. When you lay down, you're supposed to imagine yourself on your way to Tahiti for a long vacation. And then it just gets rid of all the stress, goes bye-bye.